Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and as a lot of you have heard, there is a new arrest warrant out for R. Kelly. However, there's a lot of confusion as to how we got to this point, right? So let me just first say this. Title, it's over. Why is it over? First of all, we have federal charges. Then we have state charges. Now we have Minnesota charges that are completely separate from everything we've talked about in the CP realm and the underage girls on video. This Minnesota charge stems from an incident where some girl who got VIP tickets went back with him. She was 17 at the time. That was not the legal age. And she did not have intercourse with him, but she did perform sexual acts for him, etc., etc., and was paid for those. I think a couple $100 is in the mix. Now here's the deal. R. Kelly is over. He's not going anywhere because he doesn't have the resources, and he, in fact, doesn't have the connections now to get out of this. So I'm looking at it this way. He may know some other, lower level people in R&B that maybe partook in this sort of thing that he lent these girls out to, etc., etc. We all know that Epstein was doing that, and in many cases using some of the older girls, I'm sure, with some of the clientele that did not want to be involved in the underage stuff. But Epstein and him are completely different in the respects that Epstein was really a full-time procurer of all these things around geopolitics, intelligence, it seems. When I say geopolitics, by the way, I would say globalism, trilateral commission, CFR. When I say the intelligence stuff, I'd say Prince Andrew, Adnan Khashoggi, possible arms trades connections in those respects, right? And then you have the and Wexner. I mean, Wexner's very much military-industrial complex. We've been over that. So at the end of the day, whether you believe he committed suicide, he's on an island somewhere, or he was suicided, you're never going to hear from him again. And that needed to be done. With R. Kelly, it doesn't. And they knew R. Kelly wasn't going to show up. However, his lawyers certainly had the opportunity to. So let's read the Star Tribune, because they did actually a pretty fair job of describing it, where it's been sensationalized kind of on both ends. And I won't lie, it does give fodder to some of his fans. I'm going to jump to this headline. R. Kelly takes another L while behind bars, but this time around his supporters are saying it's a setup. And they go into like these tweets and social media comments, and yeah, I get it, it's Celebrity Insider, it's trash, but they do spin it, and we're going to get to that spin in a moment. A warrant was issued Thursday afternoon for the arrest of R&B megastar R. Kelly after he failed to show up in court in Minneapolis on an accusation that in 2001 he paid a girl to strip naked and dance for him. The singer had a 1:30 p.m. first appearance scheduled at Hennepin County District Court on 2 counts of prostitution, but is in custody in Illinois on federal CP charges. County Attorney spokesman Chuck Lazarowski said the likely result of the warrant is that Kelly, whose legal name is Robert Sylvester Kelly, will be ordered to appear in court in Minnesota after the adjudication of his federal case in Illinois. So here's the deal. The feds did not want to give Kelly up for some reason. Now, his lawyers went nuts about this. They went nuts about the charges in the first place. But none of his lawyers wanted to show up either. I'm sure they could have written them something, postponed the court dates, et cetera, but they're acting like this doesn't exist. So in that case, once Kelly gets out on these federal charges, if ever, I'm not sure what's going to happen. I certainly hope he doesn't. He's got a fresh arrest warrant waiting. I wonder to myself if he's prosecuted on these current charges, right? And he ends up going to prison on these current charges. Will from prison he be, it be arranged that he face these other charges? It's a possibility. Or the possibility is maybe they'll wait for him. But then I would say he's a pretty high profile bounty. He's not going to be able to leave the country. He's a flight risk, right? And not everything's a reality show with Dog the Bounty Hunter. There are people out there that forget about whatever bond or whatever, just the fame to do it, to get this high-level pedophile. But I don't think he's ever getting out of jail. I don't know how you guys feel, but for me, when you look at this, The Hill breaks it down pretty easily, okay? Prosecutors in Minnesota alleged that Kelly offered 17-year-old girl $200 to take her clothes off and dance for him in 2001. According to the Associated Press, the girl called a tip line in Chicago, prompting the charges, the Minnesota Star-Tribune reported. So all this stuff is really stemming from the federal charges on Kelly. I also want to take a look back and say how long this has been. I mean, this is something that the public has now been aware of for 20 years. Easily 20 years, if not more, with the Aaliyah situation. Even though it was a little more obfuscated in the mid to late 90s on what was actually going on, right? A lot of people weren't paying attention to this type of thing. The internet was nowhere near what it is today. Even in the late 90s, it was mostly AOL and some websites and downloading pictures, etc., etc. The video content wasn't out there. The news media certainly hadn't transitioned to the internet. And the alternative news media was just starting to grow, and what really pushed information like this to the forefront. I mean, there were plenty of journalists back in the day doing work on Kelly, but in many publications, well, they were smeared. They were bought off. The allure of celebrity was always there. And there's so many people that are willing to forgive a monster like R. Kelly in this celebritard culture. But I got to tell you guys, I don't think he has anything to offer anymore. I don't think he has the money. I don't think he has the power. I don't think he has the resources. I think now those that have worked with him with small level charges put on them for procuring and helping him with this would roll on him in a heartbeat, period. I mean, we know people are only loyal until they're backed up against a wall, and some aren't even that loyal. That's the real world. That's where we live. So I really do hope that R. Kelly is made an example of. I hope he never sees the light of day outside of a prison cell again. I doubt he can offer us much more, although, I'm sure there are a few names out there that he could spit. After all, I know that there are the allegations out there that Kelly was abused himself as a youngster, but not in the Hollywood system. You know what I mean? And believe me, that Hollywood entertainment system, it feeds monsters like R. Kelly. Do you understand? It feeds monsters like Bryan Singer. And there are plenty of people like Singer, and let's talk about Dan Schneider for a second, that are not in prison. Do a little Google search on who Dan Schneider is and Nickelodeon. Y'all got kids out there? Huh? You seen the iCarlys of the world? You notice that people like Ariana Grande are coming out of his shows? Oh, you don't know about that? You don't know about Britney Spears and Jamie Lynn Spears, her younger sister, being impregnated as a teenager? I wonder who the father could be. And yet, these people are promoted in that realm. Dan Snyder had to take a back seat to Nickelodeon, had to quietly leave the company when all this stuff started hitting, when the singers of the world could no longer be on the set of Bohemian Rhapsody. So to me, we've got to continue to push forward. We've got to make examples of R. Kelly. We need more people to shine a light on what's actually going on in Hollywood, because there are so many other names that you haven't heard of that work behind the scenes as agents, producers, assistant directors, writers, etc., that are all doing this type of thing. So folks, if you like my work, I'm doing it 3, 4, 5, 6, sometimes 7 times a day on subjects that matter. Obviously, the child abuse that goes on in the entertainment industry, in the music industry, the people that are looking the other way, the fact that Bella Rose writes a book and talks about how she was raped from the time she was 8 to 14, and everybody around her knew about it, and nobody's talking about that. That's not a headline. Well, I'm going to talk about it, and I hope you guys care as well. So make sure to thumbs this video up, share it with others, and make sure you're subscribed. You know, check this stuff out. Become a member of the Burmese Brigade. If you are new, you can follow me on Twitter. And remember, all my documentary films are free on that channel in the documentary playlist. Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, New World Order Defined, Shade the Motion Picture, and I got to GoFundMe. This is how I'm doing it. I thank all of you who have donated so far over the last few months. We're in month 3. There's about 3, 4, maybe 5 days left in this one. We're probably not going to hit $5,000. That's okay. I'm working hard. I'm trying to get more people to share this information with others. And like always, it's never been about left or right to me. It's always been about right and wrong. And with that being said, I will see you guys on the flip side.